Hello and welcome to the Apostolic Resource Center. This is Lisa Great. I am so excited to join you today with what I think is a prophetic dream. I say think because I am still trying to dissect it and I wanted to know if you would help me. So I had a dream a couple nights ago, and in the dream I was outside and it was like bright blue skies, and up above, not right above my head, but quite a far way above my head, I saw eagles, and they were circling like this. They were just like flying in circles above my head. And I pointed up with my finger in the dream, and I was like, look, an eagle. And in my dream, I said to whoever I was talking to in the dream, I didn't see anybody else, I said, Johnny Enlow said, we are going to see eagles in uncommon places. And I said it, continue to say in the dream, a dream is an uncommon place to see an eagle. And I ended up waking up and I rolled over and looked at the clock, and it was 3:23 a.m. So I fell back asleep because I felt like it was a pretty simple dream, but my spirit obviously wanted me to remember it, because from that moment until I ended up waking up later, what happened was I kept hearing over and over again in my spirit, Eagles 3:23, Eagles 3:23. Now, eagles can represent a couple different things. This is what I've discerned as I've been praying through this. And I want to present this to you guys and have you kind of let me know your thoughts. So eagles can represent a couple different things. The eagle can represent the prophetic. Eagles have an incredible vision and sight and ability to see things, and their eyes are actually extremely intrinsic in the way they were created. And so a lot of times when a symbol is representative of one of the fivefold giftings, usually the shepherd's staff is for the pastor. You probably have a scroll, which is for the teacher. You have a hammer or some kind of building material for the apostle. And then for the prophetic, you usually have something related to the eagle. And I just felt like the eagle in that dream either represented the prophetic, or it could represent America. Now, the reason I say it could represent America is because the eagle is the national bird symbol of the United States of America. And Johnny Enlow, I think it was 2 weeks ago on Elijah Streams, they're on Rumble if you want to watch that video, he talked about 7 things to be looking out for. And it was rainbows, it was eagles, it was just a list of things. I'd have to pull out my notes to figure out what they all were. But it was super exciting because he mentioned eagles. And because I heard his name in the dream, him being a prophetic voice to the nation, also tied in the idea of an eagle, meaning the prophetic and the United States of America. So is it either or both and? I'm not 100% sure. So that was what I was sensing with the word eagle, but the number 323 really stuck with me. So the number 323 in the Hebrew means to show forth. It means to show forth, or to illuminate, or to reveal, or to place in a position. And so that's an interesting Hebrew word for Strong's number 323. Then Strong's number 323 in the Greek actually means lieutenant or satrap. And so you've got this idea of a government official, a satrap. If you remember in the book of Esther, or if you even remember in the book of Daniel, you hear the name satraps. And so satraps were government officials that worked with the king, and they were in ranking positions. And it's interesting because the eagle, if it represents the prophet is actually one of the fivefold ministry gifts that God gives, and that the church is understood to be a ranked position in the spirit where the prophet hears the voice of God and speaks only what they hear. So it's just things for us to consider. The other thing that I thought with 323 that I want to share with you before we kind of put this whole puzzle piece together, and the reason I'm also doing it this way is so that when you have a dream or you hear a word, I'm kind of sharing with you how I break this thing down in order to come to the message that I believe that God is sharing with us or with me personally. And I felt like this was a us dream versus a me personally dream because of the idea that the eagle could represent America or could represent the rank of a prophet, because that usually means somebody that has governmental authority in the spirit. And so that's more of a corporate rather than an individual understanding. So then another thing with 323 that I felt like as I was praying into this that the Holy Spirit illuminated for me was the idea of a date. So 323 could either mean March 2023, or it could mean March 23rd. So I looked up March 23rd, 2023, 323, and I looked up March 23rd, and what I found was March 23rd, 2023 is Nisan 1. Nisan is the first Hebrew month of the ecclesiastical new year for the Jews, for the Hebrews. So if you look at a Hebrew calendar, they have 12 months, but they are named differently. They're Nisan, Sivan, Tishri, Elul. Like they have different names than we have. So we are currently in the month of Tishri, which is the 7th month on their ecclesiastical or civil calendar, which usually begins March, April timeframe around Passover or a Gregorian calendar, Easter. And then we have the, what do they call it? The head of the year, or the, not the civil, maybe it's the I forget the name of the other calendar, but that starts at Feast of Tabernacles, which is this month. They call it the head of the year, even though it's the 7th month in their ecclesiastical calendar. It is actually the head of the year. So they have 2 heads of the year, one at Rosh Hashanah in Feast of Tabernacles, which is usually September, October timeframe. And so they have one in the fall and one in the spring. That's basically what I'm trying to tell you. But the first of Nisan, which is the beginning of their new ecclesiastical calendar, is on 3/23 this year. Next year, 2023. So that made me go ecclesiastical calendar, first month, beginning of months, start of something, ecclesiastical, meaning spiritual government, which is going to put us into the idea again that the eagle represents the prophet. But it just made me throw some puzzle pieces together. So let me add one more piece to the puzzle. So whether it's March 23 or March 23rd, 2023, we're still in that time frame, right? Of the March time frame. Well, let me throw this at you. I think it was 2 weeks ago, Dutch Sheets, in one of his Give Him 15 messages, he actually talked about what he sensed, and he's like, I am not a times and dates kind of guy. He goes, that is not something I do. He said, this is new ground for me to go into this area. But what he said is he sensed from the Lord that we were going to see some supernatural breakthroughs, some supernatural manifestations, some supernatural outpourings taking place in early 2023. And he said, I'm not talking January or February. I'm thinking closer to March or April. So I'm putting all these puzzle pieces together. I got the eagle flying above my head. I got Johnny Enlow. I've got 323, which takes us to either March 2023 or March 23rd, which ties me into Dutch Sheets and the comment he made, which ties me to a nation and a prophet, the eagle, the prophetic and the national. So it just makes me wonder, is it possible that we are about to step into some prophetic fulfillment as a nation in March of 2023? Are we about to see the beginning of some prophetic promises that have been spoken over our nation, which a nation is people? So those prophetic promises that have been spoken over the nation, are they going to begin to supernaturally manifest in a fuller measure than we've ever seen before in March 2023, in the beginning of the months, in the midst of the barley harvest, in the time of sowing supernatural seed? Are we going to begin to see what God is about to do supernaturally? Because Johnny Enlow said we're going to see eagles in uncommon places. I live in the state of Tennessee. We have incredible state parks here. It's gorgeous country. I don't know how I never knew about this state. It is absolutely gorgeous here. And there are bald eagles that are easily seen in this state because of the number of trees, state parks, and just the ecosystem of this area. Other places like Alaska, I think Johnny Enlow mentioned, he goes, if you see an eagle in Alaska, that's not an uncommon place. So that's why when I saw an eagle in my dream, I'd never seen that before. And in my dream, I heard myself saying, this is an uncommon place to see an eagle. I'm starting to wonder if prophetic people are going to be placed in positions that are going to seem uncommon to us in the church. We're used to seeing prophets in pulpits, stadiums, and on platforms with microphones. But what if God is about to place prophets as right next to CEOs? What if God is about to place prophets right next to presidents? What if God is about to place prophets next to prime ministers and kings of nations around the world? What if God is about to place prophets in nonprofit organizations to bring order to their chaos? What if God is about to bring prophets into the school system? What if God is about to release prophets in the movie industry? What if God is about to loose prophets into the marketplace in a way that is uncommon to the naked eye, and we're about to see them not prophesying from church platforms and in church buildings, but we're about to have them prophesying into the ears of significant influencers that are seeking answers? It's probably going to be both and. But I want us to be open to the idea that the prophetic word over this nation and over the nations is about to come to pass. I prophesy a lot what God has told me, that fallen Babylon has fallen. To call for the fall of the iron and clay kingdom once and for all. I stand on that. I know what God spoke to me. I'm looking for the Parthenon to fall. Then just yesterday afternoon, Kent Christmas, who is pastor of Regeneration Church Nashville, spoke the exact same word. I've been speaking that since 2019, and he's probably been speaking it for a long time as well. But we are in agreement here in Nashville that God is not going to release the supernatural harvest upon this city until that idol with that temple gets swallowed up into the earth. I don't want something to happen to innocent people. But I do want, just like in Numbers chapter 16, when the sons of Korah were the only ones that got swallowed up into the earth and everybody else was okay, I want that temple and that idol to be swallowed up into the earth. Just those two things. As a sign that Babylon has fallen. So my friends, I just want to encourage you with this dream. I believe that God is speaking to us about a prophetic fulfillment that is about to take place on a national level. Which prophetic fulfillment? I don't know, because there's many over this nation. We are called to be generous on all occasion as a nation. Well, we're right in the middle of supply chain issues, inflation, interest rates going through the roof, gas prices continually increasing, and we're called to be the nation that resources nations financially? I believe so. You see, I believe that the chaos that we are seeing is about to birth a creative move of God like we've never seen before. because God always out of chaos creates. In Genesis 1, it says, darkness, deep darkness covered the earth. And then God spoke and everything began to come into order. You see, we as the light of the world were born for moments of chaos. We were born for moments like this. And I want to encourage you to open your mouth and begin to prophesy solutions into situations that look impossible. I don't want us to be afraid of the shaking, the missiles flying, the bridges blowing up, the earth shaking. I don't want us to be afraid of those things. I want us to speak into those things and come up with solutions for school systems, not complain about the CRT system. Our complaining does not create a solution. But there's a fine line between complaining and having a valid concern. But when you have a valid concern, it drives you to the presence of God to say, what is the solution for our children in the school systems? What is the solution to our colleges that are liberalizing our students who are called to transform nations? What is our solution for an industry called Hollywood that is specialized in significant immorality that has destroyed the lives of many in humanity? Solutionists are what we need in this hour. And I believe prophetic voices are about to bring solutions to situations that people that only have human understanding cannot figure out. The next move of God is not going to be so that we have more pastors, evangelists, teachers, apostles, and prophets fighting over one pulpit in a building and over 50 sheep. I believe we are about to see the unlocking of the nation to the rulership, the governmental rulership of righteousness. You see, there's always a ruler over a nation. It's either wickedness or righteousness. Just read the history of Israel. Depending on the king they were under, depended on the rulership they were under. Whether it was wicked or whether it was righteous. Whether it was wicked or whether it was righteous. Read the book of 1 Kings, 2 Kings, Chronicles. You will hear the history of Israel. But the Lord is about to release righteousness in such a realm of authority that it is going to rain down upon the nations and bring order to the chaos. It's going to create opportunities and situations where marriages are going to be restored, families are going to be restored, the desire for dangerous activity is going to minimize, and the hunger and thirst for authority by God himself is going to be maximized. People are going to hunger for the word of God. They're going to hunger for the kingdom of God. They're going to pursue the glory of God. And then they're going to become carriers of that into every area of society that they go. It's going to be a reformation of the likes we've never seen since the first century apostles turned the world upside down. I don't think it's coincidental that the generation being born right now is called the Alpha generation. Why? Because life is cyclical. It's not linear. They're called the Alpha generation because we just ended with Generation Z. A to Z is not start, finish. A to Z is beginning and end of an era. And now we're about to begin something new. Isaiah 43 says, now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I'm making a way in the wilderness and streams in the desert. What we have encountered in our history will not be our near reality nor our future. Our legacy is going to experience a whole new measure of humanity. This is not the end. This is the start of something brand new. I want you to be encouraged. And watch with me, March 2023. I don't know. It's just a dream. And now we're going to see what God's about to do. Because I believe that a lot of things are going to be turned over. I feel like, let me just say this. I sense in the spirit that from now, October, until March, or maybe until February, so for the next 5 months, I think we're about to see some tables overturned. From now until February, I think we're going to see some tables overturned. Remember when Jesus went into the temple and he turned over the tables? The temple was not just a religious system, it was also a political one. Israel was a religious and a political people, and they were unified in their religious political activities. What happened in the temple is where the king lived. His palace would have been right near the temple. They were a religious political society. So when Jesus went over and turned over the tables, he wasn't just turning over a religious system, he was also turning over a political system. That's why the political always seeks out the spiritual. Even if it's demonic, they have to seek out something spiritual, because the religious and the political spirit are of the same, they're like two sides of the same coin. Henceforth, while we're called to walk by the Spirit, henceforth why Jesus didn't operate in the religious system, because it was religious and political. Henceforth why Jesus said, when they wanted to make him king on earth, he said, my kingdom you know nothing of. My kingdom is not of this earth. You see, he was addressing their temple and the religious political side of things. So my friends, I got a feeling between now and March of 2023, we're going to see tables overturned in religious political realms. And this upheaval is going to feel uncomfortable, just like it did for the disciples when Jesus went into the temple and began to turn over the tables. It can feel uncomfortable. Things are going to kind of be like 52 card pickup, and you're going to wonder what's going on. But don't prophesy death, doom, and destruction. Realize that it's the beginning of a new era. That something is breaking into the earth realm. And birth is never easy, but it's the greatest blessing that we all know. Anyway, just some food for thought. My name is Lisa Great. Thank you for joining me with the Apostolic Resource Center. Until we meet again, I hope you have a great day.